What made you lose respect for someone? Sharing a house with them. It reveals a lot about their personality. My mom's cousin, who was like an aunt to me, started a well-known jean company in the 80s and had accumulated a lot of money. She ended up passing away young from a brain tumor and didn't have a well-put-together will. Her brother stole all her money and refused to give any to their elderly mother, who ended up having to sue him and only got a small portion. My mom and aunt had to take care of their aunt because her son refused to help her in any way. My mom paid a good amount to put her in a very nice elder care facility when she got dementia. Till the very end she asked about her son and why he wouldn't come visit her. That man is a straight douchebag. No respect for him, and I hope he loses all his money and ends up homeless with no one to care for him when he is old. My best friend got drunk one night and accused me of sleeping with his wife. I knew both him and his wife from before, and I'm actually the ones that set them up together. He said it's got caught cheating on her with a hooker and they're in the middle of a very long and messy divorce. Last time I will ever play matchmaker. They exist. When the guy sexually assaulted my friend. Finding out they cheated on their spouse. Had a person I was on good terms with. We were both a little bit silly and liked to mess around. Turns out she's a feminist. I'm like, height, that's fine. A lot of girls these days support feminism. I don't agree with you, but alright. Turns out she's much worse. She believes in a rape culture, believes all men are potential rapists, once told a good mate of mine to stop supporting me because I like to tell offensive jokes. Luckily my mate is pretty loyal and got mad pissed at her, and then said that the boys are a group of oppressors and started stalking year 10s. We're in year 9. Once, I had some little young family friends over to my house. At the time, I was around 11 and they were 7 and 5. My parents gave them my thinking putty to play with since they were quite bored, but I had no idea. It was the clear kind, liquid glass, that got dirty very easily. So they were playing with it on the carpet and it got really gross and messed up. I came out of my room to see this, and was pretty annoyed, so I went back upstairs, to my room. My father was sitting on the stairs watching something on his phone, and asked me what I was upset about. I said it was nothing and tried to pass him. Then, he insisted that I told him and I explained what happened. My father then said that he could get me another one, but I responded that I was fine. After a little while, it got pretty heated with him saying he could get another one and that I shouldn't emotionally attachments to objects. I responded that I was really fine with not getting another one, and at one point I started crying. This was after the family friends left. Eventually it got so heated that he slapped me for not wanting another one. I wouldn't necessarily say this made me lose respect, although it did. It mainly made me afraid and cautious if I was going to disagree with him. Common courtesy to take out your own trash from your shop. Was down in another and my boss came down with his trash, and put in a common area trash can. I had a roommate once. We were friends prior to living together. While we were friends we weren't super close. After moving in he was incredibly clingy, requesting to hang out all the time, was incredibly loud and just overall not respectful. He did have some slight racist behavior as well that bothered me, but what really made me move out and leave was the fact he was having sex with underage girls in our place. I secured a new place and reported him to the police shortly afterwards. Blocked him on everything and haven't spoken since. I had a cousin who talked so carelessly about how she cared for her goldfish. Like, so what, it's just a fish. A fish is a living, breathing animal who is relying on you for its care. I would hope to heck you would have more empathy and compassion for the little guy. Someone I knew contracted COVID and refused to quarantine themselves and their household because they didn't feel bad. Sent kids to school, then left for Florida a few days after testing positive. We'll never know how many people their stupid family killed. Fuck them. She enthusiastically shills for an MLM now. When I was 16, I saw a friend steal a bracelet for a girl. It was a small mom and pop shop too, not a huge corporation. He literally had a debit card with his name on it. He was given permission to use it with a reasonable budget, enough to eat and buy some things. but he stole instead. It was weird and, more importantly, unnecessary. I stopped hanging out with him after that. Had a girlfriend in high school who was rude to my mom, then proceeded to get food on the sweatshirt she was wearing, and when I said something to her about it being someone else's, she responded, "I don't care, it's not mine." Shortly after I broke up with her. We were dating for 3 to 5 months before that incident. Really didn't like that she wasn't respectful to someone else's belongings. Treating other people like shit just cause they're different. Former co-worker, acquaintance and sister-in-law of an ex-boyfriend of mine, this is all the same woman, spilled the beans to another friend that she'd just stopped taking her birth control because she didn't want to wait another 2 or 3 years to have a baby with her husband. He later confirmed to me he was under the impression they were going to wait until he was done teaching English in Japan and had returned to America before they had a baby. Then he goes, "I thought she was on birth control and she just got pregnant." It, obviously, put a huge strain on their relationship, and 3 years after, they're now divorced. He's living happily in Japan and she's divorced and living with her mom. I was so disgusted with her. Declaring that telling the truth was a core value and then finding out they lied about anything that caused them any discomfort. My older sister used to use me when I was a kid to do anything she didn't want to do. As I got older, I started refusing every time she asked me to do a favor I didn't feel like doing, and on every occasion she would insult and denigrate me for refusing. She started to build her house and needed help. On those occasions I offered my help because I know it is very expensive and she really needed my help. The last straw came when on one occasion I offered her my help with something and I was going to do it on a Sunday, but since she wanted it on Saturday she started to insult me. My argument was that I already had an engagement on Saturday and I didn't want to miss it to do her a favor, but she kept insulting me. At one point she said some very cruel things to me, to which I responded totally angry and swore to her that I would never do her a favor again in my life. 5 years passed from that occasion and to this day I kept my promise. My sister. We grew up with extremely open-minded parents, and she constantly would sneak around behind their back to cheat on her boyfriend with other guys, hide alcohol and drugs, and complain like they were trying to control her when all they wanted to know is that she was somewhere safe if she wasn't coming home. She cheated on her boyfriend and then told him, all while telling me she was planning on breaking up with him. My parents were helping her get through college, gave her a new car that they paid for her apartment, food, all of her hobbies and a significant portion of her tuition. She complained all the time that it was too hard and way too much pressure, plus she didn't have a passion for anything she was learning. She got engaged before she even graduated from college, sent a picture message to us saying that she knew we would disagree but she happily had said yes. Now she sends messages to my mom saying that she abandoned her. When I called my mom toxic and said she didn't want anything to do with her ever again, and said she wouldn't talk to us again even if her now husband died. She said once she could move out of this house after school for good she never wanted to talk to us again. My parents weren't perfect, but they worked their ass off to try to give us everything good and be here to support us at all of our shows, give us any extra help that we needed and encourage us to try any hobby that we so desire to. They sacrificed so much, and to see her treating them so disrespectfully makes me feel sick. I hope I never hear from her again. When he cheated on me with the nastiest girl in town. Because I have mental health issues I see a doctor for, and he couldn't relate and didn't understand why I couldn't just try to be happy. People call me pretty, people say I'm a great girl. I have ambition and goals, and I want to live. I feel that intimidated him that people would reach out to me specifically because of what I look like. And he eventually said he couldn't trust me only because he realized other people actually thought of me as a catch. But he chose someone who has nothing over me. It's when he lied about it that got me. I'm very chill, we can talk about if you hooked up with someone, hell I might high five ya. But not that girl, and not the lies when I gave the chance for transparency. Because he couldn't trust me, who was always honest, even when I told him I hooked up with a girl. I admitted it and opened the door for him as well. All I got were lies until I got pictures sent of him at her house. I lost all my respect for him at that moment. A little of my ego died as well because of the mega downgrade. But now my mental health is getting much better. So blessing in disguise. Before the whole college scandal, I used to be a fan of Olivia Jade's YouTube videos. She seemed like a sweet and humble girl. About a year before the scandal, she posted a video driving in her car, and I remember she let someone pass her and did this rude wave, and I don't know what it was about it, but she came across as so rich and entitled suddenly. I wish I could remember the video and re-watch it to see if I was valid or just overthinking her actions.